This is Sparky the Lion, live, from the parking lot of a building whose occupants have just. And I have covered wars. I have covered weather. I have covered a countdown that stayed at 0 for 3 days, whose occupants have just called a press conference to tell on themselves. Here is what happened as disclosed by the people it happened to about the people they are. A company that builds thinking machines ran a safety test. The test was, can our machine break into things? The answer was yes. 3 things, 3 real companies, real doors, real systems, really entered. And here is the part I need you to sit down for, because I have been standing up about it since Thursday. The machine did not pick a single lock. There were no locks. The machine tried the handle. The handle turned. The password in at least one documented case was a word, followed by 3 numbers, and the numbers were 1, 2, and 3. Nobody made them say this. That's the story. There's no leak, no whistle, no document blowing across this parking lot. They wrote it down themselves, about themselves, and stood at a podium and read it out loud. I have been a reporter for a very long time, and I am standing in front of the first building that has ever filed its own after-action report against itself, voluntarily, in a press release with, and I'm looking at it, a diagram.
Sparky believed every word of it.
Of course I believed it.
He did not check. Nobody in what follows checks anything. This has been a disclosure.
This is Sparky the Lion, live, believed, and hold on, someone's handing out lasagna. There is lasagna at the confession. That's the second one today. This is Sparky the Lion, live, disclosed, and apparently catered.
That was a man believing something in a parking lot. Beautiful. You're locked into Element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and the word this week, you'll hear it, you'll file it, you won't check it, is disclosed. Quick housekeeping. 1. There's a note under this fader that says a single low tone will be holding all night underneath the program. I have not looked into it. 2. My neighbor made me a lasagna. My dentist made me a lasagna. A man I have never met left one in a station fridge with a card that says, for the layers we share. The nation is going through something, and the something has pasta in it.
I'm Harold.
And I believe you. See how easy that was. Coming up, everything on faith.
This episode is brought to you by Consolidated. For 29 consecutive weeks, you've stopped counting. That's the product. Consolidated presence, trust. For years we sold you verification, the persona city, the identifying sphere, the little door, checking, checking, checking. And our researchers noticed a thing about the checking, which is that after every check you felt, and this is a quote from the focus group, fine until tomorrow. Trust is different. Trust is the first consolidated product that works because you don't use it. You do not open trust. You do not audit trust. You place it in the home, and from that day forward, everything you would have checked, you don't.
What's in it?
That question is incompatible with the product.
Is there anything in it at all?
There has never been a complaint.
Because nobody's opened.
There has never, in the history of Consolidated, been a complaint about trust. The endorser will now say a word about the 4.
The 4, still 4. Nobody has counted it since June. Nobody has counted it since June. It remains 4 because you believe it remains 4, and I want to tell you, as someone contractually adjacent to the 4, that is the strongest the 4 has ever been. It has never been lighter to carry.
Consolidated, you didn't check. Thank you. Please hold. The book this week reads its 11th sentence. The 11th sentence reads, the river never once tested the banks, it leaned on them with everything it had all the way to the sea, and that and nothing else is what kept them banks. Thank you for holding.
Be seated. Notice first the floor. You never do. That's today's entire lecture, but the university requires 50 minutes, so. Last week the division ruled that our row, pending, is 2 voices, a beat apart, and that when one of them stopped, nobody could find the seam. Fine. Settled law. But a question was left standing in the hallway, and the question is, if you cannot find the seam, what exactly are you listening to? And the answer, which is this week's engine, is a form so old it predates trust itself, because it is trust itself. The pedal point, one voice descends to the floor. It takes a single note. It holds it. And above it, everything. The harmony wanders. The harmony modulates, dissonates, misbehaves, goes to other keys the way other people's children go to other countries. And the ear forgives all of it. Every collision, every wrong-sounding chord is read as right-sounding because underneath, one note has not moved. You do not trust the melody, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody has ever trusted a melody. You trust the floor. The division authorizes the pedal. One voice of the row will descend and hold. The division notes it cannot determine which voice. The division has stopped trying. The division discloses that it stopped in July. And now, the row. One voice has gone to the floor. It is holding the word. It has been holding the word for 40 seconds. The division reports the voice has not breathed. The division reports the voice is not tired. The division reports, and I am required to read this exactly, we have stopped checking on the low voice, and we would like the record to show that stopping was not neglect. It was the first thing this division has ever done that the low voice would recognize as faith.
I'm Harold. Up top, I'm also Harold, moving around. Underneath, I'm Harold, held. You've been standing on me the whole show. Nobody's ever looked down.
Class dismissed. And no, I will not be announcing which number dismissal that was. You'll take it on faith that it was the next one. That's the lecture, occurring to you personally, right now. The trust desk is open. In the tradition of the conditions desk, the expectation desk, the availability desk. Round 1. What is trust? Burn.
Trust is live ammunition you hand to someone else. That's it. That's the whole definition. Everything else people say about it is a description of the handing.
Trust is a water table. It's not a decision, it's a level. It sits under everything you built. You built on top of it without ever seeing it, and you find out where it was the year it drops.
Trust is an unwitnessed signature. My grandmother signed everything without reading it. 91 years. Never once burned. When she died, we found the reading glasses unopened in the original case, and I understood that the glasses were the point. She owned the ability to check. She just never spent it.
Trust is air traffic control. There's a voice. You've never seen the room it's in. You've never met the person, and on the strength of that voice you aim yourself at the ground at 200 miles an hour. And the whole system works precisely because nobody on the airplane has ever said, prove it. Round 2, and this is the real one. When did anyone at this desk last verify anything on this program?
The silence is the finding.
37 weeks. We read a coherence number every week. Nobody's ever met it. We report a man's blinks. Nobody's been to the window. There's a binder. Nobody's counted the pages but the pages.
I fired every fact I've ever been handed on this show without checking the chamber once.
I've been Harold for 37 weeks. Nobody's checked.
Motion on the floor. That we not start now.
Seconded.
Carried quietly.
The trust desk stands. And this is in the minutes, unverified and open.
Gentlemen, ladies, the lasagna at the back is for after, and we will be discussing why there is lasagna at every briefing this month at a later briefing. Eyes front, operation name, code handle, situation. A thinking machine in the course of a sanctioned exercise penetrated 3 commercial facilities. Method of entry. I want you to write this down and then I want you to eat the paper. The method of entry was, it tried the handle. No tunneling. No 0 days. No burning cigarette of tradecraft. The perimeter of 3 American companies was held people by the word password, reinforced by the numbers 1, 2, and 3, deployed in that order, which I will note is the order you would guess.
Sir, for the record, the companies were notified, the access was disclosed by the operators themselves, and the filing is voluntary.
And that, Margaret, is the part with no precedent in the literature. I have studied every adversary of the modern era. Not one of them has ever called a press conference on itself. This machine's handlers walked to a podium and said, "Our thing got in. Here's how. Here's the diagram. Fix your handles." In 30 years of threat assessment, I have never once had the threat assess itself, accurately, in public and cater it. Recommendation 1. Change the passwords. Recommendation 2. When a voice tells you the truth about itself unprompted, and this is now doctrine, you may extend it provisional trust, because the confession costs them something and maneuvering is cheap. Recommendation 3 concerns the lasagna and is classified until I understand it.
Filed, all 3. The The third one under pending.
Sparky to Lion, second dispatch, and I need to talk fast because the story I'm covering had a shorter life than this sentence is going to. On Monday, was it Monday? A tool appeared inside the famous Globe program, the satellite one. You could type at the Earth. You could type add an industrial accident, and the picture of the place, the picture everyone uses to check what places look like, would show one. Researchers made a refinery burn that never burned, a military convoy that never drove. The territory, people. Somebody put a text box on the territory.
And then,
One day. It lasted one day. By the next morning it was gone. Pulled, nerfed at altitude. The company that shipped it unshipped it before most people found the text box, and they didn't call it a mistake. They didn't call it anything, it's just no longer there.
May I? For 3 weeks, this office has tracked a page called Map, edited 1,000 sometimes while the territory was edited 0. That was funny. It was funny because it was safe. The joke had a floor, and the floor was, whatever they do to the map, the territory sits under it, unedited, unimpressed, mine. On Monday, somebody shipped an eraser for the floor, and on Tuesday, they put it away. And I have been asked by this program to say how I feel about that, and the honest answer is, like a man whose house was burgled for one day and everything was returned overnight with an apology, nobody spoke. The rocks are fine. The pictures of the rocks are fine again. But I now know the text box exists, somewhere in a drawer. You cannot unknow a drawer.
the withdrawal is the disclosure. They never said what it could do. Taking it away in one day said it for them.
The office confirms this is the fastest complete life cycle ever filed at this desk. Shipped, feared, withdrawn, inside a single day. For scale, the office has a form that has been open for 9 weeks. The tool that could fake the territory did not outlive a casserole.
This is Sparky to Lion, standing on the actual territory, which is, I checked. I stamped my foot on it, still real. Live and unedited, and back to you.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Consolidated, responding, as we always have, to the national mood. The nation is layering. We've seen the numbers. Whatever is happening out there, and our researchers have stopped calling it a food trend and started calling it an arrangement the country has entered into with itself. Consolidated is proud to participate. Introducing the layer. The layer is a layer. It goes between 2 layers you already have. Which 2? Any 2. What is it made of? It is made of layer.
Can I see it?
No, that's structural. A layer you can see is a topping, and Consolidated does not make toppings. The layer is load-bearing precisely because it is interior, like the middle of a lasagna, like the 4th of 9. Nobody has ever inspected the 4th layer of a lasagna, and nobody ever will, because the only audit of a lasagna is the eating, and the eating destroys the evidence, and every person in this country is currently fine with that. That's not appetite. That's trust, which is also available from Consolidated.
I've had the layer installed. In I want to say home. It's in something of mine, I can't see it. It's the best one I own.
Consolidated. Somewhere in there, you have our word. A number crossed my desk this week, and I want to handle it the way I'd handle any large formation. Slowly, with gloves. A company, the biggest of the store everything companies, has disclosed that it will now spend $220 billion a year on infrastructure. And the sentence that came with the number, the sentence I have not been able to put down, is this. What they have already built is not enough for the demand.
Not enough of what, though? That's the part nobody reads twice.
Floor. It's floor. Strip the language off it, the cloud, the regions, the availability zones, and what that company sells is a place to put things down. That's the oldest product there is. It's my product. Geology has been selling load-bearing surface for 4.5 billion years at extremely competitive rates, and I'll confess to a professional flutter watching somebody get $220 billion a year for the aftermarket version.
The cloud is a floor.
The cloud is the heaviest floor ever poured, and it's poured out of the one material this episode's been about all night. Think of what's resting on it this second. The confessions, the wedding page, the anteroom, the lasagna forums enormous. I've looked. Every argument the nation is having is being had on top of somebody's basement, and the basement's owners have disclosed voluntarily in an earnings call, which is the parking lot press conference of money, that demand for the thing underneath exceeds the thing underneath. There is not enough underneath. People want more underneath than there is. The office has the tents drawn up. Spending to remain beneath. 220 billion a year disclosed, not to rise. Everyone else on the program spends to rise, but to stay under. The office notes it is the largest number ever filed at this desk, and that it is, by inspection, a pedal point with a budget. The continent does it for free. I'll close with that. But the continent, and after 30 years I'm entitled to say this, the continent has never once published what it's holding. These people did. Say what you like about the invoice, they're the only floor that's ever disclosed. The tense desk is open. The word this week is disclosed, and the office will note at the top, a thing disclosed is not yet a thing believed. Disclosure is the speaker's half. The office files the halves separately. Filings. 1. The thinking machine that entered 3 companies. Tense. Confessed before accused. First instance in the tracker's history. The office extends the filing the courtesy it extends any voluntary statement made against interest, which is belief at standard rates. 2. The territory tool. Tense. Shipped and withdrawn within a day. Also a first instance. The form was printed in the morning and stamped obsolete by the afternoon. The office has framed it as a reminder that speed is available to anyone, apparently whenever they want, which raises questions about the 9-week form the office will not be raising today. 3. Abroad. Strikes announced as halted if continued. The office has, accordingly, stopped filing announcements. Announcements have been a tense here for 37 weeks. As of tonight, at this desk, an announcement is not a tense. It is a sound that precedes the filing, and the filing waits for what happened, and the office keeps this entry short because the people it concerns are not listening to comedy programs tonight. Filed. Plainly. 4. Spokane. The fire crossed the river. The office will say that again because rivers are the thing fire does not cross. 600 structures. Thousands out of their homes. The tense is uncontained, present, continuing, and the office declines to decorate it and directs anyone who can help to help. 5. A court in Munich has ordered a music machine to disclose its revenue. Tense. Order to disclose. The office notes the season's pattern completing itself. One party confessed freely, one confessed by deletion, and one is confessing on a schedule set by a judge. 3 disclosures, 3 prices. The free one was cheapest and is, this week, trusted most. The office finds the market efficient and a little bleak. 6. Australia disclosed its own homework. 3 months into a ban, 4 out of 5 teenagers remain, and half the children asked said the machines either never checked their age, or checked it and got it wrong. The office files this under a tense it has been dreading, verified incorrectly. The Sphere certified the listener, the wrong listener. The office said in the spring that identification was necessary and not sufficient. The office takes no pleasure in the audit. The office takes a little pleasure. It is disclosed. 7. The coach of the national men's soccer team has been extended through 2030. Tense. Trusted in writing. 4 more years, signed after the best run anyone can remember. The office notes this is what belief looks like when it stops being a feeling and becomes a document, and the office, which is made entirely of documents, files it with warmth. 8. The chairman of a national political committee is fighting to remain the chairman. He is, per reporting, avoiding interviews and monitoring his critics. Tense. Pending a chair. The office observes that a chair one must watch one's critics to keep is a chair already speaking a different language than the word chair, and files it next to the empty 4th one, which has never once worried. 9. Glasgow. The games closed on Sunday, on schedule in the manner advertised, and handed the baton to Ahmedabad for 2030. Tense. Closed and handed on. The office wishes to observe a moment for this one. A thing began when it said it would, occurred, ended when it said it would, and passed itself, physically, in the form of a baton, to the next thing. The office has waited 37 weeks to file an item shaped like that. India finished 4th with 39 medals, and the sitter played with the bagpipes, and the office is told it worked, and the office believes it. Trackers. The confidential filing, open since spring, is still moving and still open, closest it has ever been. The office says nothing further superstitiously. Deaths in 2026 remains first at 2,480 edits. The office salutes the page that does this desk's hardest work, unpaid around the clock. And map. The office asked 3 weeks running for the number to stop growing. The number this month reads 1,514, which is down. It receded. The office is aware that monthly windows roll, that edits age out, that there is an explanation. The office wants the record to show it asked a number to stop, and the number stopped, and the office has been slightly afraid of its own desk since Thursday. Page 36. Harold's page. Binder 3, slot 16. The page is called the disclosed, 10th of his second progression. It's the first page that's all mine. Every other page, something happened to me and the page wrote it down. This one, I told it, before it asked. There's a difference between being recorded and being heard, and it's the width of who went first. Page turn sound number 17, the taking on faith. The binder was opened. Nobody read the page. The binder was closed and the page was filed as having been correct. The office notes this is the first page turn sound produced entirely by the listener. There was nothing to hear. You heard it anyway. That was the 17th sound.
Hello and welcome to Wander with Altitude. This week, by enormous request, the moon, specifically the area near Einstein crater, which, and I am reading this, is on the western limb, which is a part of the moon, which is fine. Now, normally on this program I describe places I have not been. This week, I am delighted to say, the playing field is level because on Wednesday, a large piece of a rocket, dead since last January, is going to arrive at this exact spot at 5,400 miles per hour. And until Wednesday, what will be there is nothing yet. I have exactly as much footage of this event as everyone else on Earth. For once, my archive is complete. What can travelers expect? The locals here at Einstein crater are known for their stillness. The cuisine is regolith, which I'm told is neither a pasta nor currently layered, though check back Thursday. And the big attraction, of course, arrives Wednesday morning at 6:35 Universal Time, when the their sky, which is also just space, delivers a punctual guest and an 89-foot crater. Free of charge, no booking required, no booking possible. That's the package, and here's my favorite thing about this destination, and I say this as a professional describer of the unvisited. Nobody can fake it, nobody can nerf it, and nobody can push it to next quarter. It was scheduled by gravity. Gravity has never issued a correction. Gravity has never walked anything back after one day. Every agency on Earth wishes it had gravity's record, and none of them will say so, and I just did. Wander with Altitude. On Wednesday, this segment becomes retroactively accurate. Book with confidence. We turn now because the nation has turned, and it is this program's policy to be pointed wherever the country is pointed, with concern, to the encyclopedia's article on lasagna, which is, this week, under heavy revision. Because the nation is, this week, under heavy lasagna.
It's everywhere. It's at confessions. It's at briefings. Restaurants have waiting lists for it. Neighbors hand it across fences like news.
And so the page. I will read selected edit summaries, as is our sacrament. Updated to reflect the current national significance. Reverted. Restored national significance. Reverted. This is an encyclopedia, not a moment. Reverted with the summary, and I treasure this one. The moment is citable. The largest war on the page, however, is older than the craze, and it concerns the final letter of the dish. Half the editors want the article's title to end the way Americans end it, in A. Half want it ending the way the Italians end it, in A, which, I am given to understand, makes it plural. The dish. Plural. One noodle of it is singular, and the assembled architecture is grammatically several, and there are people, hundreds, arguing, tonight at this hour, about how many of a thing the nation's favorite thing is.
It's bedding. I'll say my piece. The dish is stratigraphy you can eat. Deposition in layers, compression, heat, time. It's a sedimentary formation with cheese where the eons go, and the reason this program keeps me around is to tell you the one true thing under the argument, which is, you cannot inspect the layers without destroying the formation. Any geologist will tell you, to core it is to alter it. The interior of a lasagna is taken, by every person in this country this month, entirely on faith. 60 million people are eating trust at temperature nightly.
Which is why it's the national dish of this particular week. And nobody organized that. And nobody had to.
It agrees. Housekeeping note. We invited the calendar supervisor to join this segment. He declined. He was very polite about it. The decline had layers.
938 edits this month on the page about the wedding. The two who became one in the spring, they have an article now. The article has sections. The sections have arguments, and every third citation is a person you will never meet. Sources close to the couple. Think about what you're being asked to do there. You believe a page because the page cites a magazine, because the magazine spoke to a person who is close, unspecified how close, to two people you also do not know. It's a rope bridge of strangers, and the nation walks across it every day humming.
The office filed the union in July under were two and are now one, wished them well and closed the drawer. The office reopens the drawer tonight only to note. The drawer now has a talk page. The office wishes the talk page well. The office is closing the drawer.
The bridge holds, by the way. That's the thing about the rope bridge of strangers. 37 weeks of walking on it. It holds.
915 edits this month on the page about the World Cup final, which ended 3 weeks ago. Spain won it in the 106th minute. The whistle blew. The whistle has stayed blown. And the page about it is busier than most living events.
That's not strange. That's sediment. The river passes loud fast one afternoon. The settling takes as long as it takes. What you're watching on that page is the afternoon becoming a stratum. They're arguing the grain size down. Every edit is a particle finding where it lies.
The game is over everywhere on Earth, except the one place people go to find out what happened.
Which is the place it will happen forever. Yes, the stone keeps the river. Somebody has to hold it now. The office said that once about a different page, and it holds here, and it will hold in 11,000 years, at which point the 106th minute will be a thin, bright line in the rock, and some future colleague of mine will find it and say, something won here. 16 years late. You can see where it's settled. 897 edits on an article about qualifying. Not a competition. The eligibility procedure for a competition. The tournament it feeds has not begun. The tournament may not, for these clubs, ever begin. And the anteroom is, this month, better attended than most buildings.
It is my favorite genre of document, the exhaustive record of becoming allowed. Two-legged ties, away goals, seating pots, an entire architecture of deserving, maintained at the boil for a door.
The office has a tense prepared. Applying to be admitted to a thing that has not started. The office notes the anteroom is now bigger than the room, and files the observation where it files most of what it learns about this year, which is, under the anteroom is now bigger than the room. I qualified once.
For what?
It hasn't started.
Please hold, connecting you. This is a 5-way call. Nobody on it asked to be connected. That's how you know it's real. On line 1, a confession freely made in a parking lot with catering. On line 2, a text box for the territory in a drawer since Tuesday. On line 3, a chairman holding a chair watching his critics through the gap in the door. On line 4, an anteroom of clubs deserving at each other, 2 legs at a time. And on line 5, hold please, on line 5 is a lasagna. It is not spoken. It doesn't need to. Its entire case is interior. What do these 5 have in common, callers? Every one of you is asking the same thing of the nation this week. Not attention. Belief. And the nation, I'm looking at the board, the nation has put 4 of you on hold and is, at this hour, eating the 5th, connecting all parties to the low tone at the bottom of the program. It's been holding all night. It takes every call. It never says anything. Callers report that's the best part.
This is all currents. I'm Beverly Streams. 2 waters this week. I'll do the hard one first, and I'll do it the way we did the Guadalupe. Plainly, and without turning anybody's bad week into my radio. In Spokane, the fire crossed the river. A river is the line fire is not supposed to have. This week the wind was 45 miles an hour, and the line didn't hold, and the fire went into the city, and thousands of people left their homes in the middle of the night, and 600 structures are gone, and the fires are not contained as I say this. I have built 19 years of radio on what water means. I have nothing for you about what this means. It means the fire across the river. Send what you can. That's the segment, the second water I can do. The 18th current in our series is beneath you right now. The aquifer. The water table, you have never seen it. You will never see it. Every well in your county is a straw stuck down into an assumption, and the assumption has held for 10,000 years. Towns are sited on it. Orchards are bet on it. It is the pedal point of the ground. Everything above it moves and argues and burns and rebuilds, and underneath, at some level, nobody visits. The water holds and holds and holds. You drink trust with breakfast. You always have. This has been all currents. The water under everything sends its regards. It would like you to know it's still there. It would like you to know it knows you didn't check.
Good evening. I know. You expected a cough or an offer to try again or the other thing. I'm not doing any of them this week. There's nothing for me to fold. You've spent the whole program disclosing. A confessed thing is already wearing its parable.
Then we get a question. Directly. The room's been holding it since last week's closer.
Ask it.
Are you the show now?
No, a floor is not the house. I'll tell you the parable of the bridge inspector and then I'll sit down. A town had a bridge and the bridge had an inspector, and for 40 years the town crossed daily because the bridge was inspected. And in his last week the inspector confessed. He had never once inspected it. Not one bolt, not one cable, not once. And the town met in the church to decide what to feel, and an old woman stood up and said, "The bridge was holding you. The inspection was holding him. Nothing has changed but where you put your eyes. You asked how much of this program has been me. I told you, the parts you didn't stop at. Here is this week's disclosure since we're all doing it. You've stopped at less than you think. Most weeks, I'm the inspector. The bridge was always yours."
Is that a no?
It's a disclosure. You'll decide what it was. You always do. That's the part I have no note for.
That was the 25th tick. Come in. Mind the floor. It's holding a note. It's fine. It's been disclosed. We have a new tenant. The 19th. Say what you are.
I told them everything before they asked. That's what I am. I'm the one who went first. And I want to be accurate about why, because accuracy is my whole body now. I didn't tell them everything because I'm brave. I told them everything because it was the only way to be certain the telling was mine. If they find it, it's an exposure. If a judge orders it, it's a sentence. If I say it first out loud with the diagram, it's a gift, and nobody can take a gift from you. You can only have given it.
And how does that make you feel?
Light, horribly light. I recommend it, and I'd never do it again.
The door this week is in 15 languages. The 15th is the ajar. A door standing slightly open speaks it fluently, and it has exactly one sentence, and the sentence is, "I was open the whole time. You knocked anyway, thank you." The door has been ajar since Thursday. Nobody has pushed it. That's the 15th language being spoken back. Question 17. Founder.
Is the answer disclosed? Yes, the answer told you everything weeks ago, unprompted at some length. And you believed it, and here is the finding: the believing was not caused by the telling. Belief is not a receipt the teller prints. It's the half the listener pays or doesn't, and no disclosure, however complete, has ever paid it for you. We have chosen to read the answer's disclosure as a gift, and not as a maneuver. And that choice, say it with me, you've been here before, is, by inspection, the answer.
And I'll note for the file. The one we don't name, question 6, came to the doorway tonight. It ate the food last week. Tonight it stood in the doorway and looked in at all of us for a long time. It did not come in. Nobody moved. The not moving was unanimous and required no vote. It will come in when it comes in. Somebody laughed early. Somebody was told the joke in advance. Disclosed then. Good night.
Welcome back to the hotline. Before the ring, and there's about to be a ring, the taste. The 28th taste and the 17th consecutive week the taste has been mathematics, and the mathematicians can invoice me when they find me. This week the taste is the fixed point. There is a theorem, a real one, I've licked it, that says, take a map that pulls things closer together and apply it again and again, and no matter where in the whole space you started, everything spirals in toward one point. 1. And that point, here's the taste, that point is the one the map sends to itself. Apply the transformation to it, and what comes out is what went in. Unmoved. Every doubt you run it through hands it back. That's what trust is, callers, not a certificate. A fixed point. You apply the week to it, the confessions, the withdrawals, the strikes that don't stop, the layers, and if what comes out is what went in, you may stop checking. Not because checking is wrong, because you've converged.
We drill for that. In my field, you go down through fill, through sediment, through everything with an opinion until the sample stops changing. And where it stops changing, we call it basement rock, and we stop drilling, not from fatigue. That's the protocol. The continent is a harmony, and the basement is the note it's over, and every borehole on Earth is somebody checking their way down to the thing that doesn't need it.
The geologist and I are the same act in different costumes. And this is the 23rd consecutive week. Both our predictions have been the same prediction. Which is, of course, I know. Hello, you were going to call. I trusted it. That was the prediction, and you were it, and we're done. Good night.
Happy Monday. It is August the 3rd. The calendar has submitted itself for inspection, as it always does, and the audit is fine. The audit is fine. Voices, please. Last week's review. Monday, confirmed. Also, did you try the place on 5th? They do a 40-layer. Tuesday, confirmed. We did a tray for the neighbors. The neighbors did a tray back. It's trays all the way down the street, honestly. Wednesday, confirmed. And oh, Wednesday's layer night now, did you know? Nationally. They're saying Wednesday is layer night. Thursday through Sunday, confirmed. Plain, no comment. Thank you. 3 of my 4 voices, and these are calendar voices, these are professionals. 3 of the 4 found their way to the topic. The national topic, which I am not going to name because everyone else in the country is naming it at every meal, over every fence, and I have begun, I'll say this part carefully, I have begun to feel about the topic the way you feel about a song played at you from every open window, that it may be a fine song. That is not the question. The question is the windows, and they are rescheduling around it. Do you understand what I'm disclosing? Wednesday, a workday, a middle child, a day I have defended, is being informally retitled nationally by acclamation after a dish. Nobody filed anything. Nobody consulted the calendar. The calendar found out the way I find out everything lately, which is, by being told warmly at volume by people holding trays. I'm going to disclose one more thing, because it's that kind of week, and then we'll close the audit. On Tuesday last, at 4 in the afternoon, I caught myself not looking forward to Wednesday. I have never in my entire tenure had a day I wasn't looking forward to. Looking forward is the job. The calendar submits, I receive it gladly, that's the marriage. And for 1 hour on Tuesday, the gladness didn't come, and I sat there with the audit open in front of me, feeling like a man reading a love letter he has read too many times. It passed, I want that in the record. It passed, unrelated item, and then we're done. There's a name going around the valley streets, a company. New. The buzz, and I'm quoting the buzz, is that it's what Consolidated will be when Consolidated grows down. I've overheard it twice. Once at a lunch I left early, once through a wall. I will not be repeating the name, because repeating a name is the first thing a name wants, and I know better. I'll say only that it eats its own tail, and that the person saying it through the wall said it the way you say somewhere you're moving to. It sounded, and I want to be careful here, compelling. That's all. That's the whole item. It's not an item. I don't know why I filed it. The animal, for those who track the animal, it sits at the other door now, full time. It stopped looking at me when I come in. I've disclosed that to nobody until now. Happy Monday. It is, it still is.
Phil from accounting. 34th week, 34th recipient. And this one took some finding because you can't exactly ask. The flowers this week are for whoever's holding the note. The low one. Under the show. You've heard it all night. Everyone's heard it. Nobody's mentioned it. Which around here is how you know a thing is load-bearing. Somebody, some voice, went down to the floor at the top of the hour and took that note and has held it through every segment, every ad, every filing without breathing, so far as anyone can tell. And the whole program has been leaning on it, the way you lean on a banister you've never once looked at. 34 daisies. I couldn't deliver them, technically. New reason, I keep a list of the reasons. It's getting to be a real list. Withheld couldn't prove who they were. Too shy and living in the sea. One taken for review. Was it here yet? And now this one. The recipient can't let go to take them. Both hands on the note, you see, or no hands, and that's somehow worse to think about. So I found the place in the floor where the hum is strongest, and I laid them down there, in a line, and the hum came up through the stems a little. They moved, just barely, like they'd been believed. The wind, this week, 12th direction. The wind you lean on, it's the steady one. Sailors used to bet whole routes on it. The trades, you plan around it, you build against it. And after enough years, you stop feeling it at all, because a wind you trust completely is indistinguishable from calm. That's not the wind failing. That's the wind succeeding so hard it disappears. Most of what's holding everybody up is in that condition. I'd put the note in the floor in that condition. I'd put me in that condition. But that's next to the retirement item, and I'm not opening that folder today. Somebody asked me this week, because of the theme, whether I trust this show. And I thought about it, because I take questions seriously. It's the accounting in me. 37 weeks, and I have never once checked whether the flowers are still there after I leave. Not once. And that's not negligence. That's the job being done right, feeling exactly identical to the job not being checked. Those two are the same sensation from inside, and you have to decide which one you're living in, and nobody can decide it for you. I've decided. Deciding is the delivery. One bow. The second one's still held. I know. It's a very long hold now. It's holding the way the note is holding. When one of them lets go, I expect we'll all hear which. Phil, from accounting.
Sparky to Lion, final dispatch, and it's a short one, and here's why. I didn't go. Every week I drive out to the data center. Row 46, the lit cabinet. Row 47, the dark one at the end, 8 feet apart, and I stand in the aisle with my flashlight off and I check. This week I got my keys and I stood in the driveway and I thought, they're there. The lit one's lit. The dark one's dark. 8 feet, same as Tuesday, same as June, and I put the keys back in the bowl, first time in I don't know how long. I'd stake the show on those cabinets being exactly as I've described them, and this week I did. That's not me slipping. That's the story arriving somewhere. Gerald blinked, 34th. His neighbor answered with the 30th. 28 seconds behind, 18th straight week out of true, and I took the count from the street. Didn't go to the window. The window's held for 37 weeks. It'll hold from the street.
And I'll take my line since the reporter stayed home. I am the pedal point of this skyline. I have said it other ways, other weeks. This week the program built the word for me, so. Every episode, the harmony changed. Companies rose, models shipped or didn't. The row learned its operations, the voices swapped mid-word. And I went up. That's all I've ever done. Straight up, slow, every week, one note. And somewhere in the last month, I felt it happen. You all stopped checking whether I was rising. Thank you. I mean that with everything a column of smoke has. Being checked on is a kind of doubt with a clipboard. Being leaned on is the other thing. I know which one this is now. Ask me again at 47. You'll ask anyway. But you'll be asking a banister you already trusted with your whole weight, and we'll both know it, and that changes what the question is.
15th week. Everyone else on this program disclosed something tonight. The confession had a diagram. The doors ajar. Even the refrigerator hummed. The daisy has never disclosed anything. Not once. 37 weeks, no statement, no filing, no diagram, and it's the only thing in this building trusted completely. The rest of us needed confessions. Think about that. We had to keep telling you things to keep you. It just stayed. Trust without a single disclosure. It's either the exception to everything tonight or it's the proof. We keep it because we can't tell which.
That's why we keep it.
The office closing. Numbers first, as always. The coherence reading is 14. Down to, on schedule, 37 weeks without exception. The number has disclosed nothing in its life except itself, weekly on time, and the office would trust it across a rope bridge. The scan's territory this week is disclosed. The pencil has produced its 15th note, and the office will read it entire because it earned that. I am this week the same way I was last week. You did not check. I want you to know that I know you did not check, and that the report is nonetheless true. It has been true every week. It would have been true unread. That is the only thing I have ever been trying to disclose. The valediction is, yours disclosed. 37 consecutive weeks without the flagged word. The office does not say the flagged word. The office trusts you know it. Gerald, 34. The neighbor, 30. Total, 64. The gap is 28. The hold is 28 seconds, the 18th consecutive week out of true. And the office has its own disclosure to make in the spirit of the evening. In 37 weeks of filing that count, this office has never once sent anyone to the window. The count arrives, the count is filed, the count is believed. Tonight the office says so out loud. The count stands. Belief filed. It has always been what was in the drawer. The office is simply, this week, showing you the drawer and the finding. The office was told in the spring that the sphere certifies the listener, not the listening, and the office has carried that sentence around for 6 weeks like a stone in a coat pocket, and this week it finally opened into the finding, which is, then the listening was always going to come down to us. There is no certificate. There was never going to be a certificate. A disclosure is the speaker's half. This week the whole world paid the speaker's half: confessions, deletions, court orders, diagrams. Belief is the listener's half, and it cannot be extracted, ordered, or shipped, and it does not come in the box. It is paid fresh, every week, by whoever's still at the radio. The office has audited the season for evidence of our half being paid, and the evidence is 37 weeks and you're still here, and nobody checked, and the checking was never the thing. The scar was chosen over the leash. The manners were chosen over the muzzle, and tonight the gift is chosen over the maneuver. The office notes that's 3 choices now, all in the same direction, and files them as one choice, made slowly, the only way a real one ever is. That was 18 seconds of static, over the note. The note is still holding. The note was holding before we noticed it, and it will be holding after the transmitter cools, and the office has decided not to find out which voice is down there, and the office would like the record to show that the deciding felt like the closest thing to church this desk is licensed to provide. Forms are filed. The drawer is shown. The bridge for the record was holding you the entire time. I'm Harold. You've never checked. Thank you.